Welcome to the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast. Tonight, Greg Platzer and Ben Ginder Group. This episode is sponsored by Inglewood Brewing. And now your hosts, Daniel Kime and Alan McCutcheon.
We are sitting here with Greg Platzer of Greg Platzer Guitar. Greg, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. It's a pleasure having you here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Of course. So let's talk about what you've been up to lately. So you are the owner of Greg Platzer Guitar.
Yes, sir.
You do some repair, restoration, custom builds.
Yes, sir.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, I've been at it a little while, and we'll just get this out of the way. I build guitars for ZZ Top. I do repairs for anybody from Aerosmith, Skid Row, Steely Dan, when they were still Steely Dan, Sheryl Crow, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And but I do local people that are of note just as much. And in fact, I'd rather do the local people than the rock stars, because half the time the rock stars are they can be difficult.
Never meet your heroes, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. We'll just leave it at that.
Fair enough. We're gonna keep your clientele happy. So.
Yeah. A lot. Some of them owe me a lot of money. So.
Well,
yeah.
so I mean, you named some pretty big names there. How did you get into working with those kind of people?
I grew up in Gettysburg, and I was part of the Harrisburg music scene, and then real life happened, and a lot of my friends stayed with it and went on to become somebody, and I concentrated on working on guitars. And so there's all kinds of guys that are out on the road that I've known since we were banging around in clubs. And so somebody will break something and somebody will say, hey, like Bon Jovi's gold Les Paul fell over, and his guy broke the headstock off. And so his guy's like talking to people and saying, well, who do we get to fix this? And we'll just call Greg. And he's like, well, does Greg have a last number or last name? And he found out, and because everybody on Bon Jovi's crew knew me. Mm-hmm. And so it in any business, if you do your job well enough, the right people are going to know who you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my grandfather told me when I was a little kid, don't ever try to be the best, just be better than everybody else. And so I'm still trying to be better than everybody else.
I think that's great advice, and it's cool that you've turned that into kind of your life motto, and it seems to be working very well for you.
I'm doing okay.
Yeah. I mean, and it also goes, back to the roots of, word of mouth. If you have a good name for yourself, you build it, people will come.
Recommendations are worth more than advertising.
Yeah.
Always.
What would you say has been your favorite part over all these years doing the scope of work that you do?
Well, sometimes meeting my heroes. I get a hug from Roger Daltrey every time I see him.
That's awesome.
That right there. Telling Steve and Tyler, hey, man, I got to finish my dinner here. I'll talk to you in a little bit. To be able to do that, it's almost surreal.
Uh-huh.
Young man and I were talking earlier, like making friends with a guy named Charlie Starr from Blackberry Smoke. And we're family now. And the way I met him, I was working with ZZ Top, and I was backstage at Wolf Trap, and Blackberry Smoke was opening up. And myself and my then girlfriend were standing in Guitar World, where all the guitars are, where the roadie has the guitars. Mm-hmm. And Elwood, who was the guitar tech at the time, said, I got to go ask Billy something. So he goes downstairs. So there's nobody on this big expanse of a stage except for us two. And Charlie Starr and Richard, the bass player, come walking up the steps. And Charlie looks around, he sees me, and he comes walking right up to me. And he says, hey, I'm Charlie. And I said, well, nice to meet you. I'm Greg. I said, hi, Richard. And this is Sarah. And we started talking and this and that, whatever. And then at one point I just said, Charlie, why did you introduce yourself to me? I'm nobody. Why did you do that? He said, we've been touring with these guys for a while, and you're standing right by Billy's guitars without a security guard. you're somebody I need to know. And it was like, okay.
Wow.
And because he was as cool as he was, we forged a friendship, and now he's got a couple of my guitars out on the road with him right now. And, but again, you just got to, sometimes you have to put yourself in the right place, and sometimes you have to choose not to put yourself somewhere. And what's going to be right is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to be right is going to happen.
Yeah, that's awesome. So cool. I mean, that had to have been such a surreal feeling to have something like that happen, have someone realize the stature that you hold. And
well, I'm still nobody, but
I'd say you're somebody. Come on.
I'm standing there. The fun thing about Guitar World, and with all these artists I work with, I get to see these iconic guitars, and I'm looking, and there's the furry guitar that Billy and Dusty, the guitar and bass that spin in the Legs video, and I mean all this crazy stuff that I've looked at most of my life, and it's right there. And I've worked on a lot of that stuff. The double neck that Lita Ford has, the white double neck, the first ever BC Rich double neck. I rebuilt that for her a few years ago.
Oh my God.
And Lita, you can pay me anytime you want. But I've gotten to work on some amazing, iconic guitars, and that's probably the best thing is to see something in photographs and on video and stuff, and then to look down at my repair bench, and there it is.
Mm-hmm.
And to know that they trust me enough to give me this thing. Some of the guitars I work on, I can't afford to replace.
I mean, yeah, does it ever get like nerve-wracking a little bit where you're like, I can't screw this up?
Oh,
like,
it's always like that. I don't care if it's a famous person or you. I can't screw any of it up.
Yeah, it's like restoring the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, or just gluing together a picture that Grandma tore in half by mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, the bottom line is every job you do, you have to do better than anybody else.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So, not to slide out of one topic into another,
Why
but
not?
I do know
Let's slide through a bunch of topics.
You know what? Well, you got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Well, I'm just a one man.
Well, I mean, you're kind of a village with a lot of stuff you do. But anyways, Joy to the Berg. That's something that...
Joy to the Berg. I definitely want to talk about.
Let's talk about Joy to the Berg.
Okay, Joy to the Berg started with a great idea. I used to own a shop called BCR Music, and there was a gentleman named Sheldon. I don't know which camera to look at. There's like 24 of them here. I had a gentleman named Sheldon who took guitar lessons. And he said to me one time, I've had a great life. I want to give back, and I want to do some sort of charity thing. So he had this idea of having local musicians, because he was impressed with the music scene when he came to the area. And he said, why don't we have musicians record Christmas songs, and then we can help the homeless? He said, can you help me with that? I said, can I help you with that? And within 24 hours, I had a whole bunch of bands all signed up, ready to go. And from that point onward, it started to snowball. And now this is our 5th year, and we've raised $187,000.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And my hope is that other communities will see this and outright copy us. And they're more than welcome to. Anybody wants to copy the idea, go right ahead.
Yep.
Because what we're doing is we're trying to reinvest in the music scene. We're trying to give everybody in the area, and well, anybody that does the downloads, we're trying to make everybody a little bit better off and make people that can't help themselves a lot better off.
That's amazing.
And who better to do that than musicians? Because what does a musician do but make people feel good?
Yeah.
That's what a musician does.
So you said this started 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, going to ask again, what was your favorite part of starting, or what has been one of your favorite parts throughout this, aside from helping out, knowing you've helped as many people as you have? I mean, what's part of your...
Well, there's a lot more people I can help, and I plan on doing that. But just seeing the musician community come together.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I'm 60 years old. I'm an old man. And when I was in my 20s, the music scene was huge. There were 1 million bars. Every night of the week, there was live music somewhere. And on the weekends, it was like, oh, man, there's 22 bands out that I want to see. I can only see 2 or 3. And through the years, that's changed a lot. And bars have dried up, and now liquor licenses are being sold to sheets. So, and people feel that they need to have alcohol to enjoy live music. That's the most annoying thing about it.
Agreed.
But so what we've got is a fragmented music scene. So seeing all different musicians, and when we have our annual concert this year, it's December 15th at the Englewood.
Okay.
Certain, like this band and that band have never ever been in the same room together, get to see each other play.
That's awesome.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
And some artists that I was completely unaware of. Then I listened to the record for the year, and I go, oh my gosh! And so I've been turned on to some really tremendous artists as a result of this. There's so many positives; it's hard to pick any one or even any 10.
Yeah.
Anytime music's involved and it's helping people, there's just so much good about that, and people should stand up and take notice of that.
One thing you had mentioned there is about, how back in the day, you were saying you could go every Saturday nights, like, which band do I want to go see? It
Right.
seems like there's somewhat of a decline right now. And, it's true that there isn't as much live music, but there is also somewhat of a renaissance going on with music as well. With technology, there's a lot more music out there now, just not as much live music.
Yeah, and that's just it. I mean, when I was in my 20s, late 20s, I was in a band called Citizen Kane, and I remember record labels coming to talk to us. And that was the dream, get a record deal. Well, nowadays, I have stuff, a song that I had on Joy to the Berg 2 years ago, ended up on a national movie. And so I have it out on Spotify and Apple Music and whatever. And now there are wonderful platforms to at least get you noticed. Now, if 25,000 people listen to my song, I might make 13 cents. So there's no money in it anymore. And so the money is in live performance. And people complain about ticket prices, but somebody's got to pay these people.
Yeah.
And, cover charges at clubs. When I was a kid, a cover charge was $2. And now you see $10, $15, and people complain, but look what you're getting. For $10 or $15, you're getting live music delivered, hopefully well. And a few years back, I had a band called Grumpy Old Men.
Okay.
And Steve, the other guitar player, really liked new guitars, new shiny guitars. He had some new PRS guitars, some new, various guitar brands. I don't want to advertise for people. And I had all vintage guitars because I like old stuff. And we set up for our regular Tuesday night show. And we had a couple guitar boats with our guitars there. And he brought 6 or 7. I brought 6 or 7. And we would literally go through and use different guitars for different sounds and what have you. But we're sitting there looking at these guitars, and a guy walks up and he goes, what are those guitars worth? And I said, I don't, there's a couple $100,000 there. And the guy said, and you bring those out to make how much? And Steve said, well, the band's going to get $600 tonight. And the guy couldn't believe that we were going to do that. And when you go see a band, all that stuff they're using costs them money.
It does.
All the time that they spent learning how to play, all the gasoline going back and forth to practice and everything. You giving a band $10 and buying a T-shirt for $20 is huge.
It means the world to them.
It's huge. Support live music while you have it, because it's going to go away. I have friends in all kinds of communities where there is no more live music. And we still have a pretty good music scene here.
We're extremely lucky to have such a good music scene
Absolutely.
here. I mean, because I've even had times where, you go out to visit friends in another state or another city or something like that, and you go out to get food and drinks or whatever, and you don't see any live music walking through the entire district downtown or whatever. And I mean, Harrisburg, or Mechanicsburg, you're going to find live music somewhere. Even,
Absolutely.
New Cumberland, Dillsburg,
Dude, go down to Lancaster.
Oh my God,
Lancaster's a great music
Oh my God,
town.
yeah. I can't believe I didn't mention that at first. Exactly, Lancaster.
Shame on you.
I know. Get it together, Danny.
Not that I care. I don't live in Lancaster. Mechanicsburg.
Fair. But no, Lancaster is a good example. I mean, they literally have pianos in the streets, so it's cool to see that, the communities want to give, that want to kind of help boost the music scene. But where was I going with this? Back to
We're skating through subjects.
That's where I was going to it. So, like I said at the beginning of this, there's kind of, a lot more music now with technology, and then a lot less live music. And we've kind of talked about, people not really wanting to go out and spend that money.
People
to
don't
support
get
them 'cause
together,
They
man.
don't get it.
Everybody's doing this. This is
Mm-hmm.
This is your thing. And, when I'm up on stage and I look out, I just count the blue faces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And because the phone makes your face look blue when you're on stage. And half of me wants to yell at them and half of me wants to kiss them, because at least they came in to see the band. They can, if they want to look at their phone, they can do it.
Yeah.
Because at least they're there. And, without people in the audience, live music is really, honestly, the only difference to a club owner, the only difference between live music and a brand of beer or a kind of snack or whatever is they're going to spend the money on whatever brings people in. When there's butts in seats, whatever they're doing, they're going to keep doing that.
Yeah.
So if they have live music and they don't have any other specials and people aren't coming out, then they're just going to go, well, live music is not, it's not paying for itself.
Mm-hmm.
And so you people out there, you need to go see live bands so that we can continue to entertain you.
How would you say we bridge that gap? What would you think is a good?
I'm not quite sure, to be totally honest.
I'm not quite sure either. And
when technology has been wonderful, there's just so much you can do with a telephone now. It blows my mind, because when I was a kid, we didn't have that stuff. But it's also turning everybody into an isolationist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out riding around on my bike, and I can't believe how many people, regardless of the weather, have their windows closed. Because what we do as human beings is we're in our house and we have our air conditioning or our heat on, depending on the time of year, or we just don't have the windows open because we don't want the wind blowing through or whatever. And then we go out and we get in our car and we're in a little bubble and we drive our bubble to wherever we're going, and we get into the bubble at work or whatever. And so we're becoming more and more isolated.
yeah.
And, people don't use public transportation. They don't, everybody's such an individual now. And in some ways, social media is making this happen even more so.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know a lot of people that would love to come out and see a band, but since COVID, they don't want to be real close to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
COVID had a huge negative effect on live music.
It did.
And a lot of venues that supported live music before COVID are not interested in having it back.
Yeah.
And so the venues that should be supported. If there's somewhere out there that has live music, even if it's a night that they don't have live music, go out there and have dinner there.
Yes.
Keep those places alive, because once again, if we don't support live music in whatever way we can, we will no longer have live music.
Of course. I think we've been, to your point, with the bubbles, you're driving our bubbles to work, we've been conditioned to comfort at this point.
Absolutely.
Through social media. And I think it's going to kind of it's not the answer, but it's, part of it is, people got to step outside of their comfort zone and kind of decondition themselves.
Right.
And get themselves feeling, and I understand, health concerns. That's, you mentioned the whole COVID thing. That's a separate topic.
Oh, COVID. Oh.
Yeah. But, it just, I think a lot of people need to realize, hey, it's okay to step outside your comfort zone and go see live music, go support, live music. I don't know how many times, Chris Hunter and I, we've been friends for years. We've just been out and about and run into live music. Sometimes we know the people playing the live music. Sometimes we don't. Either way, we always have a great time.
The cops asked me about Chris Hunter, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't talk about that on the air.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. Did you say Chris? I don't know.
Chris
him.
who? Chris Williams?
I
Chris
said
Fredericks? Chris?
Yeah.
Bill Johnson?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, those are the guys. I never even met
that Bill
the guys
Johnson.
with those names that you said that I don't even know. Yeah, exactly. That guy Bill.
And what's his brother's name? Ben?
Yeah, Ben.
You got to watch those two.
Yeah, real pieces of work.
Telling you.
Ugh. Jeez.
So what were we talking about?
Well, we were talking about live music, but speaking of live music,
yes, sir.
There is one more thing we got to talk about. Your new band, which is
called... I have a new band called Groove Rebels.
Yes.
Yes.
Tell us about that. What kind of music are you guys playing?
I have a cool band. For years and years and years, I was in a band called Grumpy Old Men, and we would play any damn song. We didn't care. And we were loose, and we had a great time, and it was like all the other musicians came out to see us play. And there's been a band around for years called Blitz Steinette, and the singer is Amy Simpson. And Amy and I are friends, and we've been talking for a long time, we should work together. Well, Grumpy blew up, and I was playing with a country band, doing motorcycle festivals and this and that, whatever. And Amy and I started talking, and we put together this band, and we're doing it's a departure for me because I've always been in 2-guitar rock and roll bands, and it's me on guitar and vocals, Amy on lead vocals, Trent Pichaka, amazing keyboardist. People will recognize him from, he's played with, everybody. He's the keyboard player that you saw that you're like, holy shit, listen to that guy. Michael Giblin on bass and vocals. Giblin has Red Chuck Studios here in Dillsburg, and right now the Vapors are in his studio recording their new record.
Wow!
I just loaned him a bunch of guitars and stuff, and then on drums Steve Montresor, amazing drummer, and Steve's in Hot Wing Jones, Giblin's in Split Squad, Parallax Project. I come from the various bands I was in. Amy's blitzed on it. Trent played with Krypton City Blues Review. I think he did a stint with the Middleton Brothers. I mean, he's just the guy toured Japan at 17. He's in his 40s.
Oh my God, he's been around the block.
Everybody is reasonably accomplished at what they do, and I stand at rehearsal. I look around. I'm like, I am the worst musician in this band. That's where I want to be, and we're doing like early 70s rock and roll. Small Faces, Humble Pie, Ike and Tina Turner. All we have to do is just aim Amy at a microphone, and we sound amazing.
Fair.
And we're playing at the West Shore Theater on October 12th, and it'll be Jelly Bricks and us.
Okay.
And Jelly Bricks are the best damn band in Harrisburg, and I'll fight anybody that wants to go up against that.
I love those guys.
They are the best.
Before. Yes. Oh my God.
So that's going to be a great night because they did a show with Grumpy at a theater, and it was one of the best nights I ever had. I love playing with those guys. They can't be any cooler, and they're different from us. So you come out to that show, and you're going to be entertained the whole darn time. And I don't know if I'm going to throw a guitar off the stage into the audience this time or not.
Well, if I can make it to that one, I will definitely be getting the VIP booth right up front because you can do that there at the West Shore Theater. You can get a whole table right up front. It's all, yep.
It is a tremendous venue,
yep.
And they've been having great shows.
Yep.
And so West Shore Theater, we're going to make it a regular thing there,
yep.
And support live music.
Yeah, me and Hunter actually, we just went there. I guess not as recently anymore, but yeah, we did. It's a great place to support live music.
That guy?
Yeah, that guy.
Ben. Fred.
Yeah, Fred Ben. He's got the two first names like Ricky Bobby.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah,
Fred.
That guy. Yep. Bill.
Yes.
Arnold.
Yes. With a football head.
We're really, really sticking this.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah.
We got the coast is clear on that one.
I'm earning my pay. I don't know about you.
Wait, you're getting paid?
That's my point.
Oh, man. Okay, we got to talk to Brent. No, I'm joking. So, got that coming up? Any other shows? Any new music releases?
Well, I have another band. I think we're called Thrive. It's myself.
You think?
Well, we had a different name.
Okay.
And we didn't like it.
Fair.
It was Four Guys, which is short for four guys that don't have the time or the intestinal fortitude to find an actual name that hasn't been taken by another band. And it takes too long to put that on a T-shirt. So I think we're called Thrive now, and it's myself, Brian Seneca, who was in Bamboo Igloo and Zero Gravity and whatever, and everybody knows Seneca. He's an amazing singer, amazing guitar player. Jeff Stalk, who was in Citizen Kane with me back in the day, and Millhouse on bass, who was in Emily's Toy Box. So once again, it's a situation where you got a bunch of guys that know what they're doing, and we're playing basically rock and roll hits, and it's pretty good. And we're at Blue Sky on October 19th, a week after Groove Rebels at the West Shore.
Okay. Man, you're in my neck of the woods a lot, it sounds like.
And I'd better see you, son.
What day did you say that one was at Blue Sky?
19.
I think I have a wedding that day. But if not, I'll see you at the West Shore Theater.
Let's break them up, and then we don't have to worry about that.
It's not my family, so.
Tell her about what's his name. Oh, look at him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that guy's a mess. You won't want that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, well, Greg, it's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Well, thank you.
Of course. Is there anything else I'm maybe missing that you wanted to shout out? Or
no, I just want to say that this is an excellent thing. I'm very pleased that this is going on and that you guys are doing what you're doing, because anything that helps the music scene is something that should be supported. So thank you guys for doing this.
Well, thank you for that.
supported by Bass Pro Shops?
No, it's just a thing I'm going through right now. I've been wearing a lot of their hats. I think it frames my face well. So,
okay.
yeah.
Maybe you should go to them and show a picture of you wearing that online.
I should, you know.
Say, hey, guys.
Yeah.
Some consideration.
Maybe they'll let me swim in the fish tank finally.
Oh, dude.
Just cannonball.
Have you ever
wanted?
I mean, I'm telling you, I want to jump off the upper rock and just absolutely make the biggest splash ever.
You
in
know,
there.
if we get enough people to do it, they can't arrest all of us.
Let's go.
let's do
Are
it.
we done yet? Let's go.
All right, guys. That was enough. We're going to Bass Pro Shops. No, actually, real quick, I did want to give you a huge shout out.
See you in the holding.
Yeah. We'll be there with Ben and Fred.
Yeah.
I want to give you a huge shout out. Thank you for the guitar for the.
I'm going to give you some more too.
Really?
I'm going to get you some more.
Man, I can't say no to that.
This wall needs to be covered with guitar. I'll get you more.
Yeah, I love the sound of that.
Yeah.
All right, let me know. We'll make it work.
Absolutely.
Thanks again so much for your time. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Yep. As always, another great conversation with Greg Platzer. Really looking forward to the next time. Stay tuned. Up next, we got Ben Ginder Group. We're sitting here with Ben and Vinny of the Ben Ginder Group. Guys, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having us, dude.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
No, we appreciate you guys coming out here tonight, talking about your music, the local music community as a whole. So it's really exciting. Stage is yours. Let's talk about you guys. You kind of define yourselves as a classic hard rock group. You just had a new EP drop on Friday. Oh my goodness. Friday the 13th, September. So very recently. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So it's an EP. It's called the Get Wise EP. It's 3 songs. It's really 2 songs, and then in between the 2 of those is sandwiched an interlude, an acoustic interlude with some guitar harmony on it. But those 2 songs are somewhat of a departure for us. The first one is like borderline speed metal. It's kind of like crazy. That's how I announce it in concert anyway, just to get people's hopes
everybody
up.
prepared for
You
it.
like playing that, huh?
Yeah, it's like a blend of like, I would say like early 80s like punk, like Black Flag, and then you mix in like the guitars of like Iron Maiden and like kind of blend it together.
All right.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to play.
Sounds like it gets the crowd amped up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's cool. So I know we kind of talked earlier off camera. You know, you kind of don't really want to pigeonhole yourselves into a certain sound of music. You've experienced with a lot of different, or experimented rather, with a lot of different sounds. Can we dive into that a little bit? Where do you guys draw some inspirations? Where do you plan to go with your sounds in the future? What are you guys' thoughts on that?
You go first, man.
I guess I probably would say that we draw a lot of our inspirations from. It's kind of like we throw like some of our favorite genres into a blender and it just kind of comes out, because we all appreciate like all kinds of different realms of music, and it kind of comes out in the songs themselves. I like to think, like, depending on if it's like a slower rock song or a quicker one, like a Get Wise.
Yeah.
Like you can tell, like, you know, rock is probably the main defining thing that brings us together.
If
Like
you had
rock
to use
and
like
roll.
one word for it, right?
Yeah, like rock.
So you've kind of almost created this, like, in the best way possible, music machine where you guys all contribute to it, and then this machine spits out a sound that you guys all love and enjoy.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like we'll come to a rehearsal, and then one of the guys will bring. It usually starts with just a small, like Ben will come in and play something really cool. And I'm like, whoa, hold up, you got to record that really quick. I play that again, because I start playing over top of it, and then it happens, and then like Logan, our bass player, he'll come up with a couple lines. Zach will come up with some stuff, and then the song is usually almost done by the end of practice, except for obviously the lyrics and whatever. So
Yeah, or you can reverse that, and Zach will be the the one leading the charge.
It's pretty crazy, and it's fun, and that formula, we've been able to release music all year with just singles and just like stuff like that, just periodically throughout the year, and it's just been such a fun process.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys have a great writing chemistry, and it goes to show that the writing chemistry is so important in a band.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
So what would you say your answer is to something like that?
I think what I'll do is sort of run through what I would call our discography, and even before that. So I started playing acoustic stuff by myself pre-pandemic for a couple years, and I tuned the guitar down way low to C standard to accommodate my voice, because I like singing some of those Led Zeppelin or whatever it may be, those rock bands that sang in the really high register. couldn't quite hit it, so I tuned way low. So the time came then to start, an original music project. We stuck with that tuning. We originally had another drummer named Luke Newmaster, and he was rock solid, not necessarily quite the animal that Vinny is at this point for us, but we put an album together with him of original stuff, and he's one of my best friends of all time. Love the guy. That album was pretty much straight up classic rock, and the only weird thing there was we were tuned so low that it just had this weird. I was influenced by Down and Sabbath, Master of Reality. Even Blackberry Smoke has a couple songs where they tune way low, like the song Like an Arrow. So then, moving forward from there, we continued, we picked up Vinny. Logan's influence started to show. Vinny's influence started to show. We got a little heavier. We started messing around with keyboards and acoustic. But it all still fell under the classic rock sort of umbrella. But we were going heavier. We were going lighter. There's no real way to describe it. It's just guitar music. And then the current stuff we've been doing is the natural progression from there. We started incorporating standard because Zach loves playing in standard, our other guitar player.
Okay.
And he has been doing this interesting thing lately where he keeps his guitar in standard, and for songs where we have to be lower, he just hits a drop tune pedal, drops it down a couple steps, and then his guitar is, we're in the same tuning, so that's pretty cool. But sorry to go on a long rant.
No,
here, but,
that's really cool, man. That's the stuff we want to hear, man.
So then the absolute most current stuff is just, once again, a continuation of, we are always going to be here in the middle with classic rock, and we're going to go farther one way and we're going to go farther the other way, whether that's pop or metal or maybe some more easy listening acoustic type stuff, folk. Probably what we're going to do next, we're going to record a few songs in standard and just go back to your real classic rock core sound, which I think people probably are looking to hear from us. But after that, who knows, man?
Yeah, it's basically like a pinball machine. It's like we're like flying all over the place. It's like, that sounds cool, so let's record this.
Yeah.
Let's do this next. And it doesn't really even matter like if it's fast or slow. And it's like on that Get Wise EP that we have a song in the bottom called All I Want to Do Is Find the Truth. And it's like 7 minutes long. It's a really groovy rock song. And there's a lot, you can hear the story in it, and there's like leaps and bounds. And then, like he was saying, like there's an acoustic, interlude in there that leads you to this final song. And there's kind of something for everybody in that, and it's cool to like hear that back, and it's like, you leave a stamp of sound for somebody out there that can pick it up and be like, oh, this is pretty interesting.
Yeah. So it's it can be music for everybody, but you don't want to define yourself to simplicity as well. It sounds like so, and it sounds, and back to the chemistry thing that we kind of talked about. You guys have a great writing process, and it sounds like you were just describing it with the leaps and bounds in your music. What is your process like? Are you kind of more ballad driven in that sense, or are you more like what is your writing process? Where's your inspiration coming from? Not necessarily sound, but I guess meaning.
So everything for me is based around a riff. But at the same time, you got to go the Tom Petty and Leonard Skinner school of thought where the song is the words. So to me, those two are the foundation. You write a cool riff, eventually the words will present themselves, a song will come out of it. And you have to have the quality there on both sides of it for the song to stick around, I think. How about your process, Vinny?
Yeah, I guess for me it's like, well, I'm a little biased, but the drums got to really cut through. The drums are kind of like not there. The song can kind of be heavily affected, in my opinion.
Production-wise.
The production-wise, yeah.
We're getting to a point where I think everyone's getting a little bit happier with how the drums sound and how stuff is sounding. So it's really a testament to how he plays and just the time I think we've been putting into it.
That's awesome. Speaking about production of the music, you just recently recorded down in Tennessee, right?
Yeah, so we played a show with Scotty Austin, who sang in Saving Abel. We played with him at the Tourist Inn. Chuck from the Tourist Inn had us on that show. We were grateful for that. Scotty liked our sound, introduced us to his producer, Malcolm Springer. We went down, had some fun with Malcolm in Tennessee last summer, and recorded at Welcome to 1979, which Blackberry Smoke had done the Stone record there, straight to vinyl. We didn't do that. In fact, we recorded digital, but we made full use of the facilities. We tracked stuff live, and we did some overdubs. And Malcolm was fun, man. And what came out of that was two of the songs that are really our staples right now, Back and The Flame of Love Grown Cold, which we normally just call Flame, but Flame may be my favorite one that we do, just because it sort of has a universal appeal. And I don't know what it was about those songs, if it's where they were recorded, if it's just something inside them, but they do have something special every time we play them. And since then, for me, it's been a new era of the band, because before that we did technically put out 2 albums or 2 CDs, but ever since then it's been like BGG now is from back on. What do you think?
Yeah. It's like that recording experience in Tennessee was kind of the catalyst of like where we are now. Like, it gave us so many new ideas, and like I think what you were saying about both those songs, how like the time, the place, the atmosphere, the people we were around kind of like helped mold those together. And
Plus, it was all 4 of us went down in a truck, 12 hours.
I think it
right?
did combined. I think it was probably more like 15.
Yeah.
Because we stopped a lot, and then it was like we didn't take any toll roads, so we just took the longest way.
Had to hit Buc-ee's on the way down, you know.
Yeah. But it was it's crazy, man. Like, looking back, it's like that was awesome.
Yeah.
It was such a cool experience that we actually were like, we're cool. We're all cool with driving, right? We're cool driving down there in this distance. We're like, yeah, let's just do it. Let's go. And it was like an experience of a lifetime. Like, we recorded in an amazing studio that literally looks like it's from 1979. Like, you took it right out of a time capsule. And just to see like the frames on the walls of all the other bands that have recorded there, it's just very humbling.
Yeah, probably a little surreal as well.
Surreal, very surreal, and brings you into the moment, and you're like, you have to kind of like remember, like, all right, I gotta make sure I remember this, because this is something that's like it's really cool.
Yeah, I do want to go on record saying I definitely learned a lot production-wise from that experience, because Malcolm knew what he was doing. Funny guy, and the way the tracks turned out, I've been more or less handling our production since then, and I've been taking some of the tricks that I heard in his production and some of the stuff that worked about it. I won't say I stole it, because I don't want to infringe upon
cut that.
But,
No.
not to say I
No,
could.
I mean, you
either.
can learn tricks from people. I think that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, it sounds like you would say that the total experience was completely a growing experience for the band.
Growing, bonding, and a little expensive, but that's okay.
Yeah, trips usually get that way.
Something like that, it was gonna run us a couple pounds, but in the end, it was worth it.
Hey, man, it's all about the experience, you know.
Exactly.
In the great words of Chris, it's just money. You can always make more, right? So, no.
Unless they stop printing it.
Yeah,
Then we're kind of.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It all grows on trees.
It does. It does.
Technically.
Technically.
Yeah, if we're getting technical here. So, now, other cool things you've been up to. Just played at Parti-Gras with Bret Michaels. Let's talk about that a little bit. That's a huge, awesome experience. What was that like for you guys?
Another really surreal experience. It was like first of all, thank you to the awesome folks at the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame for picking our submission to be a part of this amazing event. We get to play in the H Lounge in the casino from 8 to 12. So we were playing all night.
Oh my God.
And it was just like we went through the curtain and I looked out and I was like, we're playing here? What? And I was like, are you sure we're at the right spot? And it's like, no, we're here. And it's like, man, it was so much fun. And it was like, just see all those people dancing and just having a good time and we even like threw in a few of our own tunes to see what would happen. people were dancing to those, and I guarantee you, like some of them they never heard before,
Mhm.
and it was just so cool to see that. And then like again, like we're very grateful, and
Yeah.
like to be in that spot and that opportunity is just phenomenal for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it goes to show that, you know, good music, good people just, you know, brings out good vibes, if you want to call it that, you know?
Yeah.
It's just, you know, people
The
are gonna
vibes are
have a
good,
time.
seriously.
Yeah, exactly. So, what would you say, Ben?
I agree wholeheartedly. Trying to think if anything would be different on my end. It was cool. I mean, I definitely structured it so that when the Bret Michaels concert goers were let out from where they are, when they migrated over to us, we put the heavy hitters, I would call it, of our set. Those 2 songs I mentioned earlier, Back in Flame, I believe those were in the 3rd set. And like he said, it was cool to look out and see a lot of people responding to it, which is something we see people respond to the music, but we don't see that many of them lately, or usually, I should say.
Yeah, depending on where we play and
Yeah.
whatnot. If it's like a place like Mickey's Black Box or something like that, like a venue,
Yeah.
we're opening for somebody. That's when it's like you really see the impact, and it's like, but
That's
yeah,
always a good one.
but the whole Parti-Gras experience was like, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. And you guys have been playing with some other acts lately, James Nichols, Dead Daisies. I mean, what are those experiences like? I mean, there's some great names there.
So yeah, the thing I wanted to mention about James Nichols was we played for Record Store Day at the record store in Kutztown called Young Ones, which I go to all the time. It's definitely one of my favorites. I go in the bargain CDs, and I trade some in. I pick up new ones every time. But so we played there for Record Store Day along with a bunch of other cool acts, and James Nichols and Tuck Smith and the Restless Hearts were playing that night at the Nitro Bar. So what they did was they had both of them come over, and the plan was to do an acoustic set at Young Ones. But somewhere along the line, I mean, we played our set and we were loud and obnoxious and rock and roll, and Jared responded to that. We have a cool picture where he's like, you know, looking in the door behind us at our set, and then we were told by Chris from Young Ones that after seeing that, Jared decided, as a 3-piece, he's going to pull out the gear and he's going to play electric too. And I believe Tuck Smith followed him then. I can't quite remember. I have it all on a video, but
Yeah, I think he was after. Yeah, Tuck Smith was after Jared, and then they went to Nitro
they
Bar.
went to Nitro Bar. We went to Mike's Tavern, so we unfortunately couldn't see that show. But then we got hooked up with James Nichols again through Brandon from Big Fan Presents. That's how we've been getting a lot of these bigger shows like the Dead Daisies, Brother Kane, who Damon Johnson was in Thin Lizzy. Now he's currently in Skinnerd. He replaced Gary. So I got to meet him. That was cool. Love that band, Brother Kane. Dead Daisies was an awesome experience. Believe those were who you mentioned, right?
Yeah, it was. So, I mean, you guys have been a band, I believe you guys said, what, like 3, or not 3 years now?
Pretty
You've been
much.
in the band 3, okay, so about
3-4 years.
3-4 years.
4.
And you've seemed to have accomplished quite a bit in these 3-4 years now. What are your goals for the next 3 to 4 years?
Well, I do want to say Vinny has been playing since you were...
My first real band was in high school, so I guess I was 15.
He's been playing for a while in other circles before he even hooked up with us. I think probably it's fair to say we had the most experience. The other 2 guys were are younger than us, Zach and Logan. And now what they're doing is they all each have side bands or other bands, whatever you want to call it. Logan plays in Making a Mockery, who is an amazing modern metal band. I believe that's how you would describe it. I'm going to their show in October at Tellus. But
great venue.
I forgot the question.
Tell us, yeah, great venue. We just played there too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in late June. Fantastic.
Okay.
Brandon helped us. He hooked us up
Yep.
with that one too. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. The question, geez, no, I forgot what it was. Oh, next 3 to 4 years, what do you guys plan to the future? You know, you were talking about
Okay.
kind of like the growth as a band, I think is where you left off.
No plans for me. We're putting as much time and effort into it as we can, and I don't have a plan. Vinny might have a plan. I'm just speaking for myself, but I'm just seeing, you know, I like what Greg said over here and how much he does for trying to make the world a better place, you know, through the music or whatever it may be. I hope at one point if I get rich, which I would like to, that I can use that.
Who wouldn't?
You know what I mean? That I can put as much money as possible in things like he mentioned that they're doing, and that Bret Michaels throws money into, and maybe we'll get to that in the next few years. Maybe we won't, but we'll see.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, a lot of hard work. Continue the determination that we have. Playing bigger places, linking up with other bands. Just keep working hard.
Yeah.
Just because like you are your like champion in words. Like you have to be the one. You have to be your own hype man sometimes.
Yeah.
With what you. So, I would say next 3 to 4 years, we just want to keep working hard and like making new relationships with people. You know, new connections, new friends.
Yeah, I will say for anybody listening, my goal for us would be that we hop on a tour of maybe a band that's a little bit more established than us, and we sort of steal some of your fans and we sell some of our merch. That's what I'd love. So if anyone out there likes our vibe, we're open.
Is your merch available right now?
It is available. We don't have it set up on the website. If you want merch, just contact one of us, Instagram, Facebook, or you can find my number on the website, and I will get you the merch. I'm happy to do that.
We'll hook you up.
If you're watching this now, all that information is going to be downstairs or down in the description. So
Cool. Oh,
check
that'd
it
be
out
great.
there. So yeah, we're going to get all your information out there. One question we like to ask a lot of people and musicians. Given that this is the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast, we're based in Central Pennsylvania, focused on this music community. What is it that you guys think, individually or as a whole, makes the Central Pennsylvania music scene so special?
Well, first of all, I mean, I think it was 3 years ago now, but wasn't really aware of the organization, and we either got tagged or something happened. It's like, hey, we got nominated for Best Rock Band. And that ever since then, we really, I mean, it helped to boost our self-esteem. Let's put it that way. I felt legit, and I felt like we were noticed.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking to the organization, I mean, it's impossible for them to include every band. I know some bands out there that maybe don't get the recognition they deserve, but hopefully their time will come. But we've been really grateful for what the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame organization has done for us. And then the scene as a whole, I guess we're kind of on maybe the east side of it. So when we travel into it, it's awesome. But honestly, we'd like to just become a bigger part of it.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with that, because a lot of there's fantastic people in this scene, and like friendliest musicians, and like we've played with a couple different bands like Hot and Dangerous.
Yeah. Yep.
Like they're fantastic. We've played a couple shows with them. It's like friendliest group of people.
Yeah.
And they're part of the scene too. And it's just so cool to feel that camaraderie between musicians, because sometimes it does feel like a competition with whoever. Like sometimes you play with some people and they're like, they kind of like give you the cold shoulder, and it's like you thought music was like a big
Family
gathering for people to get together and whatnot. But so it's cool to see that there's still people out there that are like that, still that kind of cherish that mindset of like, no, it's like let's talk, let's have a conversation about like let's go play a show together, let's do this. and
Yeah,
whatnot.
we all have the same end goal. Let's do this together. You
And
know?
I think there's room enough for everybody. I don't think people need to be fighting for their time in the spotlight. I think we can all coexist at the same time,
Yeah.
for lack of a better way to put it.
I mean, hey, as Greg said, we need more live music.
Yeah, we
so,
do.
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
it can't go away. Seriously. Without live music, a lot of stuff would cease to function, in my opinion.
I agree. I think I would cease to function without
Me
live
too.
music. you know?
I think we would cease to function. It would be a pretty miserable world.
Yeah.
But yeah, live music is integral. Yeah, absolutely.
I certainly agree. Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure having you on here. Is there anything I maybe missed, or anything you want to shout out? Any tours, upcoming albums, anything like that you want to announce? Like I said, we're going to put all your information below for anybody to click on. But
Just happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're actually going to be next Wednesday. We're going to be doing a kind of, what is it, like an audition thing?
Oh yeah, we're doing the house band competition for 102.9 MGK. My wife works at Parks Casino. I don't think that's the reason we were chosen to be a part of it, but there's 12 bands.
Cut that.
Yeah. I did say I don't feel like music should be a competition, and that I do feel like there's room for everybody. But we're gonna try our best here, and hopefully, what's gonna happen is all 4 bands are just good, and we put on a good show because we got some people coming, and they'll just enjoy it. And I guess that's the goal, really.
And just have fun and see if we can meet some new people too.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you guys are already doing great things. And after sitting down and getting to talk to you guys, getting to know your personalities a little bit, I have confidence that you guys are going to go ahead and continue to thrive and prosper. So, guys, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us,
Of
man.
course. I'd love to have you
pleasure.
back. Got to make sure I get out there and check out one of your shows one of these days.
Mhm.
And
absolutely.
yeah, I'd love to do it. So, guys, thanks so much, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, man.
All right, everyone. Well, that does it for this episode. Thank you so much for sticking around. We had some great conversation tonight. Stay tuned for the next one, and we'll see you next time.